we already have approvals in Australia and Canada, Mexico, Europe, Singapore. We can easily go into China as well. So USA really is the last bastion of regulatory approvals we're after.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by Craig Nicol, the CEO of Graphene Manufacturing Group. Craig, very good to speak with you today and quite a bit of news to talk about. So let's start off with your Thermal XR product, because it looks like you're making headway with commercialization in the US.
Thanks, Stephen. Great to be back on. Yeah, look, we're very happy with the overall customer engagement in the US. We have a large number of very large manufacturers in various different sectors who are very interested in our product and are in some way testing it right now for various different opportunities.
In the meantime, you're moving forward with the pre-manufacture notice, and that's to get approval to import and sell in the US. Tell us about the process here and how that would go forward.
Yeah, and this is a bit of a black spot. We tried to get in a low volume exemption into the EPA for our graphene coating on the back of our new Calgon distribution agreement late last year, early this year, and we found out that the EPA really doesn't want to see any more low volume exemptions anymore. The graphene coatings that they have approved were a few years ago under LVE, and they don't want to see that anymore. They want to see a full PMN, which is an uncapped and basically unlimited. And if you write it the right way, also for various different sectors. So we've put together all of the information regarding that application. We've now signed a contract with a very large consultant who've actually got an EPA approval for graphene in the past. Every regulator in every country is very different. We already have approvals in Australia and Canada, Mexico, Europe, Singapore. We can easily go into China as well. So USA really is the last bastion of regulatory approvals we're after. And with the PMN, whilst it will take longer than we originally expected, we are going for a much larger market, pretty much uncapped and expected to be on every sector rather than just air conditioning, which is our first one up front. So we expect to have that submitted by the end of October, and then we think no more than 12 months to get an approval. There's some potential opportunities there for that to be much faster. If we can get it seen as an environmental protection product, which I think it is, because it's reducing emissions by reducing energy consumption for air conditioning. But that's something we need to work through. But right now we're holding a line that it's going to be hopefully less than 12 months.
In the meantime, you are conducting production coating trials in the meantime, aren't you?
Yeah, so what we've done for some time now is for a number of different companies do coating trials for their products. And this is including personal electronics, to take heat out of personal electronics, air conditioning products, and even such things as LNG plants, trucks and train components. But what we've now found is that we're now into that kind of what we think is probably the last mile, I'm calling it, which is where the coating is trialed in the factory. Before they can actually switch on for full production, they need to make sure that these very large companies have this coating. Whilst it's working at a product level, they now need to see it working in the factory floor. And we've got a few big companies in that last mile, which is very exciting. Of course, our shareholders would love to see the revenue announcements and contract announcements, as I would, and everybody would love to see. But this is the process that we have to follow. We are virtually writing the book around energy saving coatings, and I think there is some really big cases coming through, which should show the real breadth of opportunity that we have, as well as the depth.
So Craig, moving on to one of your other technologies, you're out with an update on your graphene aluminium ion battery technology. Tell us more about that and where you are in that process.
Yeah, so what that is, whilst we're making that product and we have a one very large public company customer, Rio Tinto, obviously one of the largest miners in the world, and obviously one of the largest aluminium producers in the world, as our partner for co-developing the battery for their large trucks. We said we were going to get the samples out by the end of June, and we were going to issue the results of that. We haven't done that yet. We haven't issued the results. What we want to do is have them fully optimized and have them third-party tested, and then we will issue the results. So I think, that's just to be clear about where we're at. We are working through the normal iterative process of getting electrolyte optimization working in the battery. It is a very intense process. And it's like any other battery that's been developed in this way. We've got to learn how it works by almost breaking it in different areas and doing a full run through all the different parameters to see how to optimize it the best. But overall, I think the most important point is that we're holding the line on having a pilot plant. Obviously, once we take the investment, up and running by the end of next year, which means that we aim to have this in the same timeline that we expected to in the first place. So that was the main message that we put in the press release, was whilst we haven't released our performance data yet, we aim to have the whole project still be conducted on the same timeline.
Okay. Well, Craig, I hope you'll keep us posted on progress on both of those fronts. Thank you very much for the update today.
Thank you, Stephen.
That's Craig Nicol. He's the CEO of Graphene Manufacturing Group.